my name is Mark, and I have a company called Prestige Lawn Care based here on the south coast in Kent, UK. I've been saying for 3 years now that I'm going to be doing some videos on YouTube, and 3 years later this is my first video, so I'll take it slow. I'm going to run through a few things about how I started in lawn care. A bit about me. I was 49. I closed down a company that I had for 10 years, became effectively out of work. Always worked for myself, whether it be limited company or individually on my own, sole proprietor, and got to that stage in life where I really had to ask what I'm going to do basically to carry on with an income. I decided in going into lawn care. It was something that appealed to me. No experience in terms of lawn care whatsoever, other than just cutting my own grass. And I started off with an old lawnmower, which was one I bought from B&Q. It was probably about 7-8 years old. A 20-year-old strimmer, Kawasaki strimmer, and a broom, not even a leaf blower. I went out and I spent £70 on an old, quite a shabby little wooden box trailer which didn't even have a flap, so lifting the mower in and out, and literally just would like take one mower. And that's really what I gathered together to start off with 3 years ago. So with that, no customers. I did a leaflet, and it wasn't very professional whatsoever, and I went and delivered 500 leaflets, and I got home and the first thing I said to my partner was, has anyone phoned? And she said no. And a week later I took a phone call from a lady, and she said, I've been looking for somebody to cut my grass and keep the garden straight. And at first I took on anything and everything. In my heart, what I really wanted was just to cut lawns and do hedge work. But I took on everything. Overgrown gardens, they were real projects. So the first year was really tough. But this first customer, the first mistake I made, and I'm going to talk about successes, I'm going to talk about mistakes, and I think it's important that we share the mistakes, and we all live and we all learn by those. And the first thing I did was I quoted an hourly rate, and I didn't even know in my head that I was going to even do that. It was only when she said, how much are you an hour? And being so keen to get my first customer on board, and I just said, oh, £10 an hour. She said, I'll have an hour and a half a week, please, Mark. So for £15, I was in that hour and a half able to cut the front lawn, the rear lawn, trim the hedges. She wanted the edges of the lawn done by hand, not with a strimmer, and I did all that in an hour and a half for £15. Time you take your fuel, your two-stroke, your travelling, and your time out of that, you net that down, and you question why you're there. So that was my first mistake, and leading on from that, I probably did that with the first half a dozen customers, and then I asked myself, what am I doing? This is ridiculous, this is crazy. So yeah, the first thing I would say to anybody that's starting off, don't quote an hourly rate. You can have an hourly rate in your head, and you can look at a hedge and you might say to yourself, well, that's going to take me 7 hours, plus I've got to take the stuff away with me, so I've got to get rid of it, I've got to pay for that maybe. You can work out in your head really what the job is worth to you, but don't quote an hourly rate. Price the job. And what I do with lawns, I just price the lawn, and I say to them that would be a £20 cut or a £25 cut or whatever the case, and I know in my heart that that's what the job is going to be. And over the last 3 years, I would say I've probably only ever missed out on three jobs that I've quoted where they've not come back to me, so it works for me. But please put some comments down below and let me know how you get on with pricing jobs, because I think that's a real sensitive subject and something that certainly we can talk about later on. So yeah, something about me, the company that I started off, very little equipment, and of course no customers. The leaflets went out, and on top of that I did some Facebook marketing as well, and that worked reasonably okay for me. The pricing I found really difficult at first, and not really sure on how to really quote something, and some of you guys have put on here before, know your worth, and it's so true. And I remember watching other people say this on YouTube: know your worth and stick to it. You're not going to get every job, but if you don't get the price that you're quoting, and if you're being fair and reasonable with your rates, if you don't get the job, then you don't want the job. It's as simple as that. So pitching the price and quoting jobs is something I think that you've got to be very positive, very confident with, and know in your own heart, as I say, that if you walk away and you don't get that job, it is a job that you didn't want anyway. The customer's got to appreciate there's, you know, a certain amount of work that needs to be done to complete that job, and there's a cost to you, and there's certainly, you know, a profit to be made, and you're not there for charity. So yeah, as I said, been 3 years. Year one I took on so many jobs. I probably took on jobs that really ideally needed someone with a team of people, and there were a lot of, well, some of them were real jungles. They were terrible. But I knew that I wanted, really, ideally, to just do grass work and hedge work. So at the end of year one, I went into year two, into the next season, thinking to myself, I'm going to now just start to market really just for lawns. And I had a flyer done, which was just effectively promoting grass cutting. And I started to put those flyers out. They were professionally made. Really pleased and really great result with how they came out. And they started to get some good work in. So that was great. And people still ask, you know, we do the borders for me, can you do this for me? And I just say very politely, I'm sorry, I just do the grass and I just do the hedges. And I do try and find people that are prepared to do maybe some of the borders, and if they're prepared to do that, then I'll manage that. So there's always a way around it, but sticking to your guns. I found it really hard when people initially would say to me, can you do this, can you do that? And I would say yes to it. And when I got to a stage where I thought, I've got to be true to me, I've got to steer this work the direction that I want it, rather than being reactive to what they want. So I've got to be proactive and steer something in the direction that I want. So when people would say to me, can you do this, can you do that, could you do that tree, could you do the borders for me, and I would have to then just say, well, no, it's not something that I would take on, and I've stuck to that. And in year two, that was kind of a changeover where I started to cherry pick a little bit more. And by year three, going into year three, which was last year's season, 2016, and I stuck to it rigidly all the way through, and it's worked. It was hard, it was difficult, sometimes it felt a bit scary maybe just to turn some jobs down, but you've got to be true to yourself. And I've ended up, I'm just probably shy now of 50 customers, which for me, working on my own, is really comfortable. So 2017, this would be my 4th year. Last year was the first year that I was able to put money to one side, and for that to fund me through the winter months, and that's worked. So it's taken just the 3 years to get me to that stage. So 2017, marketing wise, what I would like to achieve is to review some of the customers that I have, and start to look at really, is that one that I'd like to keep, or would I rather maybe upgrade it for something else? So I'm going to continue with marketing for just the grass jobs and the hedge work, and as they come through I will look at those, and if they're more profitable, and when I say profitable, that's based on the fact that I still, from the early days, have some jobs where I just priced the lawn and it was a bit cheap. And I know that through that transitional process of believing in yourself, and you wouldn't want not to get the job, so you might quote 20 instead of say 30. And I've still got those, and those ones, if I can find newer accounts which are more profitable, then that would then give me maybe the courage to go back to those other ones and say, look, the price has gone up. It's so hard, I feel, to go back to a customer even after 2 years and say the price is now for this year an extra £5 or £10 or whatever the case may be. And I've watched videos before from some of you guys where you've said, do you know what, don't be scared, go in, tell them the price, it's gone up, fuel's gone up, costs have gone up, insurances have gone up, everything's on the up, and it's now going to be an extra £10. And if they don't take it, out of say 10 customers, if you lost 4 but the other 6 have all agreed to pay more, then arguably you're going to earn the same amount of money for doing less. And I understand that theory, so maybe again, if you would like to comment on this and maybe put your experiences down, that would be great. We'd love to read those and learn from your experiences too. So that's enough for now. I'm going to be doing videos throughout the year, and I look forward to doing those, and I'll be taking the cameras out on the road with me, and we'll be looking at some of the gardens and some of the difficult jobs and some of the easier jobs. I've got one, here we are in January, I've got one that's already contacted me, and she wants a quote on cutting long grass, quite a sized garden. So I'm going to see that one tomorrow, which would be the 5th of January. So I'll take some snaps of that one. Won't be able to take a running camera on that one, but I'll get some snaps in on that one, and we'll have a chat about how that went, and how the pricing went and the reactions from the customer. So I'm looking to maybe give some of my experiences onto you and share them with you, and for you to do the same back and comment and discuss it, and maybe we'll end up better people, and hopefully how is that a word? And hopefully, see, first video nerves, hopefully more financially rewarding. Thanks guys, look forward to speaking to you soon, and have a great 2017. I'm definitely going to be back. I'm going to be looking to do 1 or 2 of these a week, and please subscribe, and good luck and keep safe. Cheers guys.